Good morning, YouTube! Today we're taking a look at Dratini, the dragon Pokemon. Dratini has a long, snake-like body with small scales. On its head is a small developing horn, which fully develops by the time it evolves into Dragonair, then gets covered up by orange scales when it evolves into Dragonite. Dratini sheds its skin through a process known as ecdysis. This process starts when Dratini's body releases a hormone that loosens the bond between Dratini's inner and outer skin. This begins a few days before the shed. Dratini will then rub its head on a stone to create a tear in its old skin, usually on its snout. Finally, Dratini will use a combination of rippling its body, squeezing through crevices or bushes, and rubbing against rocks to get the old skin off. Unfortunately, Dratini are often captured and held in inhumane conditions by people wanting to harvest its sheds, as they can apparently be used to create luxury boots. Since Dratini often shed specifically to get rid of parasites, infections, or status conditions, some people intentionally inflict these things on Dratini to make it shed faster. However, this usually only leads to Dratini getting seriously ill, since it needs time to develop a new layer of skin after a shed. Dratini often coil themselves up to sleep for multiple reasons, the primary one being safety. By coiling up, Dratini can see its whole body and more easily keep itself safe, as opposed to when it's stretched out and often can't see its rear. It also does this to keep itself warm. As a cold-blooded reptile, Dratini spends a lot of time warming itself in the sun. To conserve this heat on one spot as long as possible, Dratini will coil itself up. Dratini's jaw and teeth are incredibly small, and it can't open its mouth very wide. Therefore, it scavenges algae and different types of plants at the bottom of rivers, ponds, lakes, and oceans it calls its home. Since Dratini has very few means of defense, it is often the prey of bigger dragon-type Pokemon it lives near. This leads to packs of Dratini and Dragonair forming, with the baby Dratini being protected by the Dragonair. With that, don't try to find rare Pokemon just to use them, do it to actually be friends with them. Au revoir!